Hello, everybody, and welcome back to G Bear's Off-Grid Ways. Yeah, some rain way over there, and guess what? It came through here today. I got 0.13 inches, a little over 1/10 of an inch, and that kind of made me a little on the happy side. It's not much, but it's a little bit, and my garden got a good soaking from it, so my garden's happy over that. But let's get right to it. What's the information that I'm going to put out today? I got my notepad here. The first is going to be to a new subscriber, Donna. She's going to be moving off grid from the East Coast all the way to Arizona. And she's been checking out videos online about moving off grid. And there's a few things that I want to get out to her because she needs to start prepping for it now so that she's not caught by surprise when she finally makes the move. Okay, Donna, you got your pen and paper in handy? If not, pause this video and come back to it in a few seconds. The rest of you, let's get on with it. Okay, so you're thinking about things like wind turbines for when the sun doesn't shine, adding more electricity to your system, and hot water heaters and things like that. Okay, forget that stuff for right now. The thing that you want to really concern yourself with is the number one requirement in the desert. Okay, now I know you're coming from the East Coast down south there, and you don't have desert there, but we have desert here, and we learned very quickly the number one importance out here is water. Okay? And water is a very important part of your life. You've got to have it. Everything on earth needs water. Your animals will need water. You need water. Your plants need water. Trees need water. Everything needs water. So you've got to get your ducks in a row when it comes to that part. You definitely want to have your water situation put together. Now, if you don't have a running stream on your property, or if you don't have a well already on your property, then you're going to be in for a big surprise. Okay? First of all, drilling a well nowadays is very expensive, and I'm talking very expensive. Out here I was quoted at 40 grand, and that's before I buy any of the equipment, the standpipe, the pumps, whatever I'm going to use to run it, all that stuff. That's just to drill a hole in the ground. Okay, they wanted $40,000 for that. So you guys might want to pay attention and write this stuff down if you're planning on moving off grid. So if you don't have a well and you can't afford to have one drilled, now I'm not sure about Arizona and the area you're going to. I don't know what they'll charge you out there for it, but I can tell you that's what it is here. And I'm sure it's not that far off over there. So that's one of your things. So if you're not going to do that, then you've got to figure out on water delivery. So if you can find somebody that's going to deliver to your area and get a price on that, you want to see how well fixed that price is, how long they've been charging that, where they get their water from. Now, if they're pumping it out of the swamp, you don't need that water. Trust me, you don't need that water. So if they're getting it from city water, nowadays, most cities have polluted water. So you're still going to want to treat your water when you get it, and the best treatment for that is pool chlorine. You've gone swimming, you swallowed water from the swimming pool, it doesn't kill you. You don't swallow it in large quantities, but you use very little pool chlorine to kill the bacteria in the water. So like a 2,500 gallon water tank, if you're going to have that filled with 2,500 gallons of fresh water, that's going to take a quart of pool chlorine, only 1 quart. So it's not a lot of pool chlorine. Matter of fact, Out here, we learned years ago, if you're going to make a trip to Mexico, the water down there is not the best interest of drinking. So you want to make sure anything that you have with water in it, even if you stop and get soup or a stew or anything like that that was made with water, you definitely want to treat that with something. And the way we would do it is we would take an empty plastic pill case or something similar and put a bunch of wooden toothpicks in there, and then just add a little bit, maybe a quarter teaspoon of the bleach, or not chlorine bleach because that has soap in it, but you want to take the pool chlorine and pour it into the bottom there and let the toothpicks soak it up into the toothpicks. So anything that you're going to eat down there, you would take one toothpick and drop it in the food and stir it around for a little while and then eat. And that would usually prevent you from getting Montezuma's revenge. You've heard of that. If you haven't, look it up. You don't want that. Okay, so that's your water situation. You want to make sure that you've got a good water situation going before you move out there, because you can't keep running to town for 5-gallon containers of water. That's not going to work out for you. You got to have large quantities of water. My 2,500-gallon tank, I extended that, and I put another 800 gallons of plastic barrels around it and tied them all together. So I get about 3,300 total gallons of water I can store in my tank. And I go through that in, depending on the weather, anywhere from 6 to 8 months. So that's a lot of water to use just one person, right? So be ready with your water. Next thing you got to do on your water is, if you're going to have it delivered, you're going to make sure that you can buy a water storage tank. And buy a water storage tank that's going to be larger than what you ever think you'll need. I was a little on the dumb side when I did that, and my first time moving out here and not having anybody tell me how to do it or what to do. And I only got a 2,500, so I had to extend it and make a 3,300. But if you can, get yourself like a 5,000-gallon tank. You won't be sorry about that. Even if your delivery guy can only deliver 4,000 gallons, when you use that down, you put the first 4,000 in there, and when you get down to 1,000 gallons left in it, call them for a refill, and now you got 5,000 gallons. And every time you get down to 1,000 gallons, you can call for a refill from that point, and you'll have a full tank again. And you'll always have 1,000 gallons of backup in case your truck breaks down along the way and can't deliver or something goes wrong. You still got 1,000 gallons to go on for a while. So that's my first tip for you. Okay. The next thing is you're talking about your system that you have for your solar system. Okay. Now 300 watts of solar is just barely adequate. That's what people would use just to go camping for a weekend or something like that. So for a starter, that'll be okay. But if you want to be able to run a fridge and a few other things off of that, your 35 amp hour batteries are not going to do it. Even if you hook the 4 of those up in parallel, that's all the positives together and all the negatives together. You still have 12 volt, but your amperage goes up. So if you got 35 amps, 35 amp hours for 4 batteries, that's going to only be 140 amp hours. Not enough. You're going to want a bare minimum of 200 amp hours. So you can watch some of my videos I've been doing recently on LiFePO4 batteries and 200 amp hour and things like that. And also space is another thing. Your batteries can get pretty large when you get up into the larger amp hours like that. Now the company I've been working with and doing reviews on is about to release a 300 amp hour 12 volt, 300 amp hour battery that is about the size of a regular RV battery. It's not gigantic like the others. So hang in there for a while. And if I get to do a review on that, they usually give me discount codes and you can get a discount on buying one of those. And I would buy one of those and then save your little 35 amp hour batteries. Those are probably Harbor Freight batteries that you're buying. Those are lead acid. You know, you're going to want to get away from that. Your lead acids aren't going to last you very long, and you can only go down to 50% level on those, which means that at 10.5 volts, you're at the bottom of the usage of that battery. So with LiPo4, you can go all the way down to 0 and recharge them up the next day. So you're better off with LiPo4. That's going to mean that you're not going to be able to use your Harbor Freight charge controller because those are designed for lead acid batteries. You can actually use it, but you have to know how to reset the parameters in it to meet the specifications for LiPo4. And they're not that efficient because those are PWM type charge controllers. You're going to want MPPT charge controller. Maximum power point tracking. That's going to give you the best power into your batteries throughout the daytime. Okay, now your Harbor Freight solar panels, a lot of times I've been using those for quite a while. Those are going to be amorphous panels, and the amorphous panels are really good at collecting low sunlight or low light, even on a cloudy day, and giving you a charge. So don't worry about getting into wind power and all of that right now. If you have a stream on your property that runs constantly year-round, then you might want to get into hydro instead of air. The wind is unreliable. You're never going to know when it's going to be there and how fast it's going to blow. You're not sure how much electricity you're going to get out of it and stuff like that. So with hydro, if you got a stream that runs year-round, you can put a hydro in there, and as long as the water is flowing, you're making electricity. So you can make electricity 24 hours a day in a stream. So I don't know if you have a stream where you're going, but that's a thought. All right. So the other thing is you're talking about having some way of backing up to charge your batteries. Okay. I recommend that you get into some different equipment if you're going to do that, like an Ames low frequency inverter that will also work as a battery charger. So you can fire up a generator that is connected up to your charge controller itself, and the generator will charge your batteries on those days when you don't get enough sun. That's a good way to go. Now, you were talking about some type of a power station. Yes, you can go that way, but for the same price or even less, you can set up with a generator and an Ames inverter. A power station, you're still going to have to plug that into solar and charge it up during the days so that you can use it as an emergency backup. The emergency backup is not going to be good for charging your regular solar batteries that you have that you're going to be living off of. That's kind of redundant trying to charge batteries off of a battery, because that's all a power station is. It's basically a LiPo4 battery with a solar charger, and you charge it during the day and then you can use it at night. So I would suggest going to Harbor Freight, getting yourself a decent generator. I can get deeper into that in another video, what size to buy, and depending on your dexterity, your strength, and all of that, whether you should get one that's a pull start, which will save you some money, or an electric start. And then remember, with the electric start, you got to have a battery on it, so you're going to be spending some extra money there. And then if you're going to be in a cold climate where it gets below freezing, you're going to have to worry about your batteries especially with lead acid, they don't like extreme cold. Those of us that grew up in the cold know you get up on a cold winter morning when it's been below zero all night long, and you got to go to school or work in the morning, and you try to crank over your car and it goes rup, rup, no power. So yeah, the specific gravity of lead acid batteries drops in the extreme cold. Now your LifePo 4 batteries, most of them nowadays, if they don't have it, you don't even want to get anywhere near that. But they'll have cold temperature protection. And that only protects the battery from attempting to charge when it's below freezing. It doesn't have anything to do with protecting the battery from the power or anything like that. It's just so that you won't damage the cells trying to charge it when it's below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And then as soon as your temperature gets up to above 40 degrees, it'll automatically turn back on and let you charge the batteries. So in a cold climate like I'm here in the desert, when I get cold winters here, my LifePo 4s may not charge during the night, but that's okay because there's no sun during the night. And by morning, even if it went down below freezing at night, by morning, within an hour or two after the sun comes up, the temperatures are back up in the 50s or 60s. I'll be back in charging at that point, so I'll be fine. All right, so that's for Donna out there. Say hi to Donna, everybody. Give her a thumbs up on her comments and help her out if you can. This is G Bear signing off.